The fisherman's net shuddered violently in his hands. A silvery shape thrashed within, its scales glinting in the sunlight as if hiding a secret too vast for the world. And then, impossibly, the fish spoke. "Release me," it said, voice low, urgent, almost human. "And I will give you treasures beyond your wildest dreams, but you must never speak of me." The fisherman froze, salt water dripping down his face, heart pounding. Riches, freedom, a life free from hunger and shame, all within reach if only he stayed silent. Yet the weight of that silence pressed down harder than any storm, heavier than any net. Sometimes the most powerful choice is to say nothing at all. The net sagged under the weight of the fish. Its body was long and lithe, scales like shards of moonlight glinting across the coarse rope. The fisherman's calloused hands shook as the creature thrashed, and in that thrashing, he saw a depth in its eyes that no ordinary fish possessed. Dark, fathomless, almost human. Then the unthinkable happened. The fish's mouth moved and words poured out. "Do not fear me. I am no ordinary catch. Spare me, and I will give you riches unseen by any man. Gold, pearls, treasures hidden deep beneath the waves. But you must never speak of me. Keep my secret, and all you desire will be yours." The fisherman's breath caught in his chest. His body ached from years of bending under the sun, from hauling nets that returned with too little. His stomach twisted in hunger, his children's faces hovering in memory, their small hands reaching for bread he could not give. The offer seemed like salvation, and yet something inside him stirred. Unease, a voice that whispered of caution. Not all stories ended well for those who bargained with the sea. Once, he had been a dreamer. Born to a father who never returned from war and a mother who carried silence like a second skin, he had learned early that life often gave nothing in return for hard work. By 17, he was hauling nets heavier than his own body, his skin baked by sun, hands raw and cracked from rope. He married young for warmth, for a woman who believed in him when he barely believed in himself. Together, they built a modest home at the edge of the shore. Laughter had once filled that home, fragile but beautiful, until hunger crept in like a shadow. Then illness took her, sudden and merciless. She coughed herself away in his arms, leaving him with children who looked at him both for guidance and solace. Years of poverty and hardship had hardened him, but he had borne it in silence. Grief, hunger, humiliation. He met all of it without complaint. Silence had been his armor, his shield. And now, the sea spoke back to him, offering a choice he could scarcely comprehend. The fisherman's fingers hovered over the net. The fish's body shimmered, a liquid dance of silver under the rising sun. Its eyes never left his, steady, unblinking. "What if I kill you?" the fisherman asked, voice rough, almost unrecognizable even to himself. "Then you kill your future," the fish replied. "I hold what no man holds: riches, freedom from suffering, the power to rise above a life of hardship. But you must keep my secret. Say nothing." The offer was intoxicating. He imagined gold coins stacked high enough to hide in, pearls spilling like moonlight across his home, and markets where merchants would no longer mock his meager catches. Yet he hesitated, the weight of the choice pressing on him harder than any storm. Something about the fish's calm certainty unsettled him. This was not a first-time offer. Perhaps countless others had faced the same choice, and the ocean had collected their silence, or their folly. The fisherman's neighbors watched from the shore, curious about his struggles. They had long whispered about his misfortunes, about the poverty that clung to him like salt to skin. And now, with the fish thrashing in his net, he felt the eyes of the world upon him, waiting, judging, daring him to reveal what he had seen. He considered it for a heartbeat, to show them the talking fish, to flaunt the treasure, to erase the years of mockery with a single revelation. But he knew, deep in his bones, that some secrets were too powerful to share. Silence was not weakness, it was strength. The fish sensed his resolve. The world will never understand. They will envy, they will betray, they will seek to own what cannot be owned. Keep silent, and you will be free. A breeze swept across the shore, carrying the scent of salt and seaweed, the sound of waves relentless against rock. The fisherman inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of choice pressing on his chest. He had lived by the sea, fed by it, scolded by it, and now it spoke in a voice that demanded trust. He nodded once, sharply, quietly. He would not speak. He would not reveal the secret, no matter how tempting the rewards. Weeks passed. The fisherman continued his work, modest catches feeding his family, nothing extraordinary. But the sea had honored his silence in ways he had not imagined. One morning, his nets overflowed with fish, more than he had ever seen. Pearls washed ashore where his children played. Gold glinted faintly under the sun, hidden among the rocks where he had once feared to tread. His neighbors began to notice, whispering of fortune and divine favor. Yet he said nothing, never a word about the talking fish. The power of silence, once a shield, had become a quiet reward. The fisherman realized then the depth of what he had been offered. Not just wealth, but wisdom. The understanding that some truths are too precious, too volatile to share recklessly. Silence, unshakable and patient, had its own form of victory. One evening, the fisherman stood at the water's edge, his children beside him, watching the sunset. The horizon glimmered with silver light, and the fish appeared once more, nodding, acknowledging his choice. The world, with its hunger for spectacle and proof, would never know. And yet, the fisherman felt no need to explain. He had kept the secret, and in doing so, he had preserved something more valuable than gold or pearls. He closed his eyes, letting the wind brush across his face, letting the waves whisper their eternal approval. Around him, life went on, but within him, a quiet, unshakable victory settled. The fish vanished beneath the surface, and the sea returned to its constant rhythm, indifferent, yet honoring those who understood its language. Some battles are unseen, some victories are quiet. In a world that demands noise, the fisherman had discovered that silence could be the greatest strength of all. The secret of the sea, kept faithfully, had changed not just his life, but the way he understood the power of restraint, honor, and patience. Remember, courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is the calm voice in your heart, guiding you through impossible choices. Comment below where you are watching from. Share your thoughts on the story, and reflect on a moment when silence became your strength. Subscribe for more cinematic stories that honor the quiet heroes of our world.